Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 29, day 2. It is Tuesday, July 19th. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge in the market. See what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, let's jump in. Very light on the econ data. Housing starts out positive number. It was chop all the way across, as it was only till the end as earnings came out. That's right, earnings came out for the big Microsoft here at earningswhispers.com. Microsoft beating expectations. Intuitive Surgical and United Airlines, good numbers there. Up in the greens here, so lifting, and we'll show you on those charts exactly what went down there at the end. So again, pretty quiet market. NQ was only sitting on 15 ticks for the day. Missed that last entry, but being able to capture a little bit that last move on the YM and the ES as those numbers came out. All right, let's jump in charts, see where we're going. Here was our session from the get-go. Very choppy AM session. That's your AM session. Very tough to get into. More of a scalp session today. Again, had those setups there. Here on the NQ, you can catch these on the blog site here, as well as the Twitter post. But again, each of these white vertical lines representing a pretty good, not a golden opportunity. But again, when you're scalping, you're looking for entries. Nothing on the YM, nothing on the ES really for all that counted. It was the NQ with a couple moves downside. Only was able to grab one of those at the beginning and towards the end, which I had nothing to lose. Got off first contract, came back and took me out for 2 ticks. So pretty much was about to give it up for the whole entire day after a wonderful Monday. Again, here's some of those setups I was looking at in detail here on the left-hand side. Lower time frame, higher time frames in the upper right-hand corner. Price ducks underneath the 51.44. Again, the bigger trend on the NQ was all red for the most of the session. So it really didn't matter whether you went long or short. If you got a range-bound day, what you're looking for is you're looking for setups where you have at least 3 charts in sync. It could be a combination of any of them. Here's the sell signal. You don't go right on the sell signal. The price action breaks underneath the T350. Count them up, 1, 2, 3. 4 charts in the red. That's not a bad entry to the downside. Again, whether you took it or not, that was a whole nother deal, but that was a nice setup. Price action again back to the upside. Count them up, 1, 2, and that's right, the 51.44 at the bottom. Nice buy signal above the T350. You're going for the scalp. Again, I told you it was a range bound session. You see the price break up here, even though the bigger trend is still in the red. And you could have simply done 2 things: sit out the entire session and wait till all charts were in sync. And the truth was, it was only one of those setups, and it was right here, sell signal. Now, the early entry here was prior because price action broke underneath the 51.44, and you're back in trend with all the red. So that's right, you got 4 charts in the red. Price is underneath the 51.44, so you could take the early entry and actually bag some more ticks. But I wasn't as lucky. I decided to get in a little bit further down. Once the sell signal came on, you had the Globex low here, waited for the breakout of the downside of the Globex low, and ended up coming and taking me out for 2 ticks. I'll go ahead and show you that chart here in a moment. Towards the session closed, finally at this point, I pretty much gave it up for the session, said I'll walk away with 15 ticks on the NQ, but here you got divergence, you got the NQ on the left, you got the YM in the green, the NQ in the red, and you're saying, what's going on, where are we going? And there's where we went, right at the end. NQ again, not the best of setups, but buy signal, 3 charts in the green, just like we had today. So you might have jumped on that or waited till the break above the T350. But again, right here at the close, post 5 minutes, as Microsoft numbers came out, United Airlines, etc., and ES and YM, those were the lucky 2 that I was able to get on. So setup number 1, they're on by the rules with as many charts in sync. Not saying all charts have to be in sync, but stopped out. And there was setup number 2 I was just mentioning before about. Again, didn't take the early entry, downside, pops back up, takes me out for 2 ticks, and managed to finish out the day. There's the entire session on the YM and ES. Only 1 trade there at the end on the YM and the ES. Well, if you can't find it on the indices, you look elsewhere. There it was. Look at those. Same picture on the soybeans, but here the beans meal. Downside, nice sell signal downside, and then nice trending with 5 charts in the red. So if I can't find it there, gotta look elsewhere. AD line, nice move to the downside, right to the 750. Again, I told you that NQ was mostly in the red, so two in sync with each other. Finding the highest probability would have mean watching that AD line unable to break the 10-period moving average, and we just pretty waffled out at the 750. So overall trend of the day, still we call it down from yesterday's session, but pretty much flat across the board. Taking a look at the 5-minute charts, again, crude coming downside as it held up here to the 25-minute open range for some time down to the cam line, playing a little bit inside price action. Again, not much as we roll into EIA tomorrow. Green highlighted all the way across up here on the ES 25-minute open range. Again, range bound day, nice lift here at the end towards almost the daily gap in here on the YM. Again, I told you it wasn't much to talk of, not many setups as we'll see here in the daily trend in a moment. Again, NQ rolling it down all the way to about the 25-minute open range low, never really breaking below that. That's what got me only those 2 ticks on that entry. Started out the day all the way up here, and that's where we finished, all the way back up near the Globex high daily gap. How do we do on those fib levels today? Not bad. Price action only on the YM, but again, ES coming close and NQ not getting anywhere. Take a look at the daily gaps. We're still leaving daily gaps behind. NQ only one upside at 43.50, and as well as the crude closing out today's gap at 45.52. As long as we stay in the downtrend, watch for 43.23, a former recent swing size, and then open gaps down below at 40 and 37. Always watching those VPOCs. Again, a lot of sideways action, a lot of consolidation means at some point price action will move in either direction. Always be ready intraday for both directions. And again, crude hanging out at 45.90. Love the VPOCs daily. Just like I treat daily gaps, a line of interest on the charts. Taking a look at the daily trend, let's start with the crude. Again, I said as we lead it to tomorrow, EIA, any setups up? Yep, there we were. Setup signal downside. 5 charts in the red there after the crude open, and then another signal to the downside. A little bit choppy here. Might have gotten your first contract off, stopped out at break even, but again, not much moving on the crude. Where we saw that last move on the YM to the upside, it was pretty much an inside session here. Not really getting all charts in sync. Here was not a bad entry. 2 charts in the green above the T350. More of a scalp entry at this point. Buy signal here, but Heikin Ashi candle not in sync. Sell signal here. Wouldn't have chased that, so left the YM alone until the very end. NQ, again, a lot of setups on the scalps here. Midnight open, price action. You can go for the moves underneath the T350 or above the T350 as we saw here. And then finally at the end, you had those 3 charts in the green. But again, the setup here at about 405.26. And price action lifted again. Turned my head, and the next thing I know, it's way too upside. Was watching that YM in ES. All right, ES for the most part, we said price action was chop across, flat, even though we moved from the downside from yesterday's session. Sticking to that midnight open one time after time. Algo's maybe pushing it up there. Again, not many entries on the ES until the very end, which buy signal here, 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm talking about. If you got a range bound session, you're not going to be able to wait. Like I saw there on the NQ, only one setup the entire session with 5 charts in the red, and it didn't go very far. But that's the setup that I always look for. But if I can't and I'm range bound, I got to go with 3 charts. And the 3 charts, chart 1, chart 2, which is the 534, and chart 3, which was the 5144. So nice move on the ES. Take a look at the gold. Gold very choppy today. Again, buy signal here, not going anywhere much, and sell signal, again, only 2 charts. But again, if you're going to scalp in the session, it was a tough one there on the gold, especially in the U.S. regular trading hours, not as trending. Take a look at the 6E. Nice move down overnight. Sell signal down here. 3 charts in the red. That was enough to get you in to the downside. Again, another move downside here. 5 charts in the red. 5 charts in the red. Those were the best of the setups. Taking a look at the daily big pick as we roll into tomorrow. Taking a look at the crude here. Again, crude continues to reject at the 50 EMA here on a 4-hour chart. Both T3 moving averages downside, so I go with the trend downside still, and sitting in between the 51.44 as the crude rolls over contract. So as long as we continue in downtrend, I got those open gaps in my sights, as well as that most recent swing size low. Taking a look at the cross at the 3 indices is price action, the consolidation here at the most 2015 highs, most recent. of last year. And then price action here, again, volume under par today. Not too happy with that, but hey, trend is trend, and if we go chop at no volume, that's okay. But either way, pretty much sideways action, but 4-hour chart still in the green. We are sitting in between fib extensions 1 and 2 right now. We are sitting above T350s, and then we have a slight pullback here on the T3 moving averages, which is still all in an uptrend. So as long as we continue in the uptrend, look for the intraday setup in both directions. All right, let's jump into the, let's take a look at Microsoft. Let's take a look at some of the daily charts as we rotate our market cap leaders every other day. Microsoft here in after hours trading, nice lift. Again, Microsoft for the most part has been in an uptrend on the daily now, holding above the 200 period moving average. 4-hour chart, very strong upside. Again, your entry way back, so looking for a pullback. 15-minute chart and after hours trading back upside. Pre-close there, it was downside. So watch for tomorrow, watch for the support, or watch for another pullback. Any pullback on Microsoft in the days or weeks to come, you'll want to watch for the 4-hour chart. Entries on the intraday chart is very strong in the green right now, so looking good. All right, Netflix. Let's take a look at Netflix again. We talked about Netflix yesterday. Price action on Netflix, there was the downtrend, pretty much just chiseled sideways. 85, pretty much holding on. We said we'd look at that a chart here today, and yep, there's that drop. So now what we need to do is watch for price action. We now have a gap, so we'll go ahead and put that gap line in there. Just go ahead, draw yourself a line right there at the low. So around 97.24, eventually Netflix will come and close that out. We want to watch for the intraday setup, and again, we'll watch for the resistance upside for Netflix to follow through to continue an uptrend. But right now, we are in a confirmed downtrend, at least on the 4-hour as well as the daily, which has been like that for some time. All right, let's take a look at some of the other ETFs here on Tuesday. Let's start with the GLD. Looking at the gold ETF, as gold just chopping sideways, taking a little bit of a breather here in the market, which has been upside. 50 above 144. Price action, though, below the 50, so not feeling confident until we get back upside above the T350. For the most part, the bigger picture on gold has been resistance here now at the 200, so downtrend still remains in play. Again, you want to watch for the intraday as it's become very choppy across the board. 5 below the 34. Here we have the 100 tick. Here is downside. 15-minute chart, not really being able to get a rally going. So I want to see price action break above these T350s on both the 50 and the 100 to confirm a solid entry upside. I will see it on the 15-minute chart as long as it stays green. So gold right now, GLD, still in a downtrend, not yet ready to lift back up. All right, taking a look at the USO, matching that crude that we see every day. Again, underneath the 50 and the 200 on a daily here in the lower chart. Again, on the daily here on the Heikin Ashi bars, 5,200. On the daily, that's the weekly, I apologize. On the daily, 50 still above the 144. Where's our support levels? Well, you got to go to those open gaps, hopefully, or more recent swing size positions on the bigger picture, perhaps on the daily, if we go back some months to see perhaps, as we saw in the crude, somewhere down here around 10.63, looking for levels of support. Heikin Ashi oscillators upside on the 4-hour chart, but again, for the most part, we continue downside, so making the short the higher probability move. Taking a look at the VXX, taking a look at the VXS, you want to trade the volatility in there on the market. The VIX, again, price action downside, nice way to get in on volatility. I think the chart is pretty clear all the way around, all in the red, Again, nice move, a nice entry down here last Tuesday as price action broke down. This is what you want to be looking for. You got a price action move up, and then price action swings down on the 50 and the 100 and the 15-minute chart to support the bigger time frames, and there you go. You got yourself a nice move on the ETF to the downside. All right, wrapping it up with the last two, EEM, looking at the emerging markets. Emerging markets still in a downtrend on the weekly, but daily and 4-hour chart looking very strong right now. A little bit of consolidation sideways, holding above the 5,200 on regular trading hours. But again, 15-minute chart, I want to get that. Again, this is only intraday on the 15-minute chart, so want to get that back upside. 100 tick looking good, and 50 tick looking good as well. So if you're a pullback trader, this would have been the opportunity back here as a price action back here on Monday lifted up over the T3 moving averages back in, well, they've been, the T3 moving average is crossing back upside once again, together with the 100 tick, which has been upside, and then the 15-minute chart accompanying it back here on Monday as well. So we'll wait for another pullback. Want to get that 15-minute chart back upside for any surge to keep emerging markets in a trend upside. All right, last one, TLT, 10-year bond here, as price action for the most part has been looking to the positive. A little bit pullback here on the daily, holding above the 50. 200 all the way downside. Again, T3 moving average is downside, holding in between the 50, 144. Any positive trend, I want to get back that into a green. So bonds are going to need to lift back up above the T350 on the intraday, which will support the move on the 4-hour chart, which should make its way back up to the T350. Watch for the resistance. So step 1 will be above the 50. Step 2 will break above the T350 as we if bonds are to migrate any higher. All right, looking ahead for Economic Day, we have mortgage applications tomorrow. We have EIA Petroleum Status Report. Should be a mover as well. Take a look at Michael Burry blog. That was kind of interesting today. There it is, Earnings Whisper. Want to go to the calendar here. So again, we're looking to tomorrow for Wednesday. We got 103 before the, 31 before the open. We got Halliburton. Some big numbers. Morgan Stanley again looking out for Thursday for our Starbucks numbers, and looking to next week for our market cap leaders as we roll into next week. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google, and Starbucks there on this Thursday. Again, we'll take a look tomorrow for some of those big numbers and report those after the market close. All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. Have yourselves a blue zone day wherever you may be. Good day, good night, and good trading.